All right, we're live. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. I'll give it a couple minutes, couple seconds really, for people to come on in. All right. How is everyone doing this Sunday afternoon? Hey, what's up? Welcome, welcome. Come on in. I'm just going to, let me type this in here. So something that came up for me while I was meditating, and I was moved to share it. There we go. Yep, the topic is going to be Mindful Monday, for sure. And I'm just going to kind of play it by ear, but the way that I want it to work is it's going to be probably maybe like a 2 or 3 part type of series. Like this first part is going to be like the introduction and like the things that were on my mind during meditation. And then I also have a mantra that I put together, which is really like an affirmation or an intention that's related to money. And then I also have what was the last thing? Yeah, a meditation and perhaps maybe a yoga sequence to go with it. But that's not all going to be in this video. Hi, kitty. I don't know if you can see my cat. No, you can't. Anyway, okay, well, let me get started because I want this to be under 10 minutes. But anyway, they call me Lady Kendall. Go ahead, like my page if you haven't. Yeah. And if you're here, go ahead and say hello. We are going to get started talking about mindful money. Yeah, when you come in here, say your name. Hello, hello. Okay. And did I pin that there? Can you see it? I'm trying to pin a comment. Okay, so, all right, I'm about to begin. So, like this all really just came to me, so it's kind of jumbled up still, but I'm still going to, come out here and share it as best I can. But, I've been working these healing streets, because if you don't know, I am an intuitive healer, and I work with people to help them with their inner peace, their inner standing, their inner self. And I've been doing it for, quite some years now. And I'm at this point in my journey where I'm like always trying to find like the core of a lot of these issues. Because while we all have different struggles and we go through we have so many different stories and different like experiences, it's amazing how like all of those have common things or have common subjects in common or certain things in common. So, one of the recent discoveries was that a lot of it comes from like inner child work. So that would be with like how your mother treated you or, how your family life was. So a lot of people have trouble from that, going through traumas and abuses through that. And then even behind that, after you go past the inner child wound, behind that is usually finances or money. And I mean, and it's no secret, the internet is full of, people talking about, turn your business into this, turn this, make money here, make money there. It's like just a big grab for money. It's like life is just this big grab for money. And So it really got me to thinking about these couple things. Like when I was in meditation, these are the things that came to me that I am to share. Um, so the first thing is that we treat money just like any other relationship in our life. So, like any issues that you may have, whether you're aware of them or not, such as, I mean, it doesn't have to always be negative, but to be, with the subject, if you kind of procrastinate, if you tend to avoid people, if you tend to be very introverted, if you tend to have a hard time, like with being taken advantage of and, struggling with things in that manner, then chances are your money is the same way. Um, So, with that said, the next thing was that money is energy, really. We kind of get caught up on like the actual coin piece of it, the actual like bill piece of it, the actual number piece of it. But money it goes past that. It's really a representation and it's a reflection of how you spend and use your energy and your time. When they say time is money, and I'm looking up and down because I have notes here because I tend to ramble and go off subject. Money really is like it represents a trade and an exchange of energy. I don't know if I said that already. And that also that emotions can drive it either way. So like, you can make money in a really hateful, negative, oppressive way, or you can make money in, people will argue with you, but like in a really loving, positive, uplifting, happy way. But either way, it's typically like our emotions are typically what drive us to pay attention to that money, if you will. So most of our problems and stressors that people face are rooted around money. Something, in my, actual counseling work that I do, when I go out and I see the clients and, you give them a diagnosis and everything, a lot of people aren't aware that poverty is a diagnosable condition. So if someone's living in poverty, they can have like that actual diagnosis given to them and it can be billed to insurance for that. And typically, poverty is generational and it's a mindset really. It's and poverty in general is, just a big subject in and of itself. But I think that the main thing that's important to stress here is that it's a mental illness. It's considered a mental illness. There is a diagnosis for it, and that with illnesses, they can cause trauma. So a lot of us, because of generational poverty and living in poverty, we've been traumatized due to that, which our parents most likely struggled because of the money with that generational piece there, and then they treated us some type of way, and then we grew up, and then we have all these messed up issues stemming from that diagnosis right there. So with that said, the certain traumas within finances are like divorces happen. Like that's the main reason why people, have a hard time in their marriage and whatnot is because they just couldn't get on the same page with money. Murders are, based in, a lot of people will kill each other over money that was owed to them or money that was cheated from them or for the money, for the insurance money. Layoffs, losing your job, that causes, financial trauma that adds to the generational poverty. Homelessness, if you've ever struggled with, being homeless, carless, jobless, starving, if you will, haven't had a meal. Some of us aren't used to one meal a day. But all those things cause the financial trauma. Mental anguish that comes along with it, and suicides. So for sure, that would be why, you know, poverty is considered a mental illness. So, you know, for the people out there that say and feel that, you know, I don't really care about money, money doesn't really matter to me. I could just, you know, if I could just live over out with nobody bothering me, I would be fine. But you know, and later on when I get to the meditation piece, this will be there and it'll make a little bit more sense. But remember when you know, spoke about how like money is like your energy. So if you take your focus off of the coin value, off of the bill value, and you put it into your energy. So think about if they got rid of that system, it was gone tomorrow. Hallelujah, we're not using money anymore. The thing is that there still is an exchange of something. So an example I like to use is the apple tree. You know, certain man or woman has an apple tree on their land, and other people want to, you know, have those apples and use those apples because they feed, you know. So basically, the point is that money, or not money, energy and time and resources go into taking care of this apple tree. Um, you know, you have to have a ladder to climb up and get the ones at the top. You need to be able to, you know, fertilize it. There's all kinds of things that need to go on with that. Bushling them up, bagging them up, you know, transporting them to the people that want them. And then when the people get the apples that they, you know, got from this person, if they're going to make pies with it, if they're going to make, you know, whatever, jams with it, whatever, there's something that goes into that too. And then the next person, you know, the person that might be starving, if you will, who's going to eat that apple, in turn gets that apple. I hope that makes sense, like how the line works. So, kind of like where our current, you know, capitalistic type of society is today is that instead of, well, if we stick with that example, you know, that person needs to be compensated somehow for going into that tree and getting and taking care of those apples and getting you the apples so that the person can eat them. If that person who took care of the apple tree isn't taken care of, then eventually the apple tree dies because there's no energy, no resources being put into the apple tree, and then nobody along the lines gets anything because no one took care of the apple tree. Does that make sense? That's kind of like what it is at the basis. And you know how they say that like energy can never be destroyed, only transferred. And to me, that is the equivalent of burning something and it turning to ash, if you will, instead of, and then it just gets blown away into the wind. Like it just, there wasn't an even exchange there. Anyway, so if you follow my example, if we get rid of the bills and coins, instead of saying, you know, I'm worth $80,000 a year, I'm worth $100,000 a year, like what, if we got rid of that, what would you be able to give to people that would be of value? You know, if you look at things in terms of that, you know, we all need clothing, shelter, food, water, warmth, you know, protection from the elements. If it came down to that, like what do you have to give? What energy do you have to exchange for those things in return? Just because even for, you know, like the monk or, you know, the highly spiritual person who says that money doesn't matter to me or money is evil and I'm fine without it, well, chances are for the most part they're saying that comfortably from their, you know, from their office somewhere. And for the most part, they have those basic needs met. Some people need more than that. Some people need less than that. But really, that's really kind of, you know, what that stands for. Oh, sorry, I think it paused. Okay, so let's see here. Are there any questions? Y'all talk to me for sure. Can y'all hear me? Are y'all feeling this? Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was, all right, on my list, the way you treat your money is just like any other relationship. 2, money is about energy exchange. 3, most problems and stressors stem from money and financial traumas. We went through the traumas that come from financial issues. And then we also talked about, that whole belief where people claim that they don't care about money or they don't need money or money's evil. Well, even if you think that in this life, when you are born into this, it's part of our contract that your energy is going to have to be exchanged for something. So I think that moving into like the, the whole meditation and mantra section of it, something that was really on my mind is that, like, I took a whole bunch of notes on it. And then I was like, that's too much. Like, you need to just break it down. And I remember I was working with a financial planner. I wasn't like working with like getting their services directly, but I was doing another service just working with them. And I heard him talking to his son. And his son was like asking for something money related. And he said, son, what's the rule? And he goes, I respect my money. And he walked off. And he was like, no, come back. How do you say that? And he was like, I respect my money. And he's like, that's right. We respect our money. And is making this decision, like, is that, honoring and respecting your money? And then he was like, no. And he's like, okay, how can we fix it to make sure that we're honoring our money at the same time? And, they went through this process of, my money right now that's past the limits and the boundaries of my money. So instead of saying, and that was the other part of respecting your money, is to not speak down on your money, speak down on yourself. You wouldn't speak that way about a friend, or some of you would, but it's kind of all tangled together. The way you treat your relationships is how you treat your money. But, instead of saying, I'm broke, or I ain't got it, or, whatever. Instead, it was like, that's outside my limits, outside my boundaries, which is a nice way of saying, I don't have it in the account right now. I don't have enough. Something costs $50 and I have $30, So, and then, so like, it was like, the first thing was like, we check in with our money, and is it within our limits and our boundaries of our money? And it was like, no. Okay, so then how can we work this out with our money? Do we really need this? Do we need this? Do we want this? Oh, I want this. Okay. So if you want this, how can we, work out a plan with our money to be able to secure this want? And, just went down the system of, well, I could save my money. I could sell something for this. There were just different options. So, I just liked that thought process of, how you go about actually respecting your money. And and that's kind of what I want us to meditate on, come to a calm place and just really clear your mind. And then just think about, like, that's going to be the mantra to yourself. I respect my money. And, what does respect mean? If I make a budget of eating out for the week, I'm supposed to only eat out twice that week, and I go out 3 times, have I respected my money? Not really. If you've overdrawn, did you respect the limits and boundaries? Not really. So just like kind of like switching it that way. Yeah. What else was I saying? Yes, I respect my money. I honor my limits. I don't buy without first checking in. Yep, I've already said all this. And then also to just remember that, so like the first one is I respect my money. And the next is like my money is a reflection of the way I use and spend my energy. So, a lot of us that take in more than we make, or it's the other way around. We put out more than we make. I'm willing to bet that those people are really stressed out. They're really worried. They're really, frustrated. And even if they're not, we all tend to know this person. They can be real lackadaisical, kind of careless. There's like a spectrum to it. People can either be at this end or people can be at the other end. And then another thing that came to me during this meditation was that, okay, so if we're going with the theme of respecting our money and understanding that the way we spend our money is a reflection of our, the way we spend and use our time or our energy, with that same thing, we need to make sure that we are accountable for every penny. That's probably the best way to put it, is to be accountable of every penny. So for me, and for a lot of people, I know what that looks like would be, hello, thanks for popping in, would be gathering up all the loose change in the car, on the floor, on the counters, and the couch. If you see a lone penny out, pick it up and lovingly put it in your pocket. Create like change buckets around your, home. No more like wadded up dollar bills at the bottom of your pocket, getting washed and dried, bunched up at your purse. Because, would you like really want to be hanging out with your mom or your friend, kind of looking raggedy all over the place? You would, want them to have their stuff together, right? So, smooth it out, put it in a wallet, get a change bag. I was going to say a coin purse for it. Like I said, or like a money container or jar that you put all your pennies or in loose change in at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that, yeah, those were three good things to start with. So as far as our mantra goes, we'll go over it again before I get off of here, is to establish and affirm that I respect my money. Like in this sense, we're going to treat this just like we would any respectable relationship. And with that, you're going to meditate on that. Like, what does it mean to respect somebody? Then after that, it's going to be really just like whenever you're, tempted to go outside or disrespect your money, to realize that, what I do with this money is a reflection of how I spend and use my time and energy. If you waste it, if you overdraw it, if you do any of that, that's what you're doing with your time and energy. It comes right back to you, And lastly, to be accountable for every penny, to really just show it that respect that it deserves, organizing it, putting it in a change purse, or bank, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And then the last little piece that I had on here that I'm not going to go too much into, I need to meditate on this, was the different types of money profiles. The three that came to me during meditation was the avoider, the manipulator, and the beggar. But I need to meditate on that a little bit more to see, what it is I need to know about that. All right, does anybody have any questions or have anything to say before I get off of here? I know money, the whole mindful money mindset type of thing is not that easy to talk about. It's when it comes to money, I think everybody wants to be sold a fairy tale. That, you're just gonna, get this drop shipping store and I'm gonna make thousands, and just everyone gets so caught up in the glitz and the glam and looking good and, the parties and, doing all this stuff with the money, but no one really understands what the rich and wealthy, shouldn't even really say rich, just what the wealthy, how their mindset is different, why there is a 1% and a 99%. The 99% of the people don't take they're not mindful with these types of things. Someone else controls your money, someone else controls your taxes, someone else controls, you're not, with it enough to be able to own your own home. Not to say that it's bad that you rent, I rent, but, every single aspect has to be handled for you by someone that is mindful with their money. You know, I used to have a belief that, you know, the wealthy people were just like, whatever with their money. And I always said it would be nice to have to, you know, be so rich that I won't worry about a dollar or whatnot. Come to find out that the wealthy go past the dollar. They go for all the way for the penny. You know, all like, you know, every penny is accounted for. And that's, you know, really how it has to be. What was I going to say? Yeah, so I think that that'll be the next step that I would like to focus a little bit more energy on, is just because, like I was saying earlier at the beginning of this, as an intuitive healer and trying to get to the core of like what's going on with people. You know, at the surface level, you see everyone really just pointing and blaming the finger, and like, you know, it's my job to go deeper, deeper, deeper to figure out like where these are. And then it's like so there's surface level problems, and then there are inner child problems, and then at the base typically are financial problems. That's typically where most people's traumas and issues come from, is from that, you know, poverty, mental illness, that poverty mindset. And also to be mindful again that even if like you're given, if you have a, you know, a poverty mindset, an impoverished mindset, even if you win the lottery, even if you win a big sum of money, you know, there is that's something that's put on my heart right now. This is good. Is that, you know, you can give someone $1 million and they won't do anything but create $1 million worth of problems. You know, there was this show I used to watch about lottery winners, and it got to the point where I was like, I think they pick people. They pick who they want to win. Like people that they know are just going to squander it and do nothing with it, who don't know anything. But like I was just saying, there's a reason why there's a 1% and a 99%. You know, typically I don't think you see the 1% playing the lottery. If anything, I think the 1% are the ones that are in charge of the lottery. Because if you think about it, like if you have the 99% playing into the lottery and you let off 100 million, that's probably nothing compared to like what you're getting when it comes to all the casinos and all the scratch offs and all the play numbers and all the pick fours and the Powerball. Like that's a good hustle. Anyway, yeah, it's the truth. It's the truth for sure. But it's getting people to face it, like the actual piece of it. Not being caught up on like the actual dollar amount and like the glitz and the glam. Like there's like that piece of it that you have to face on your own. That was something else that I had in my notes too, was that and like a affirmation that I wanted was I will face my money situation with courage, because I know some people, myself included, that are afraid to open up mail because of like the financial trauma they've been through. You know, opening up a big bold letter that says past due or collections or, you know, something like that. Like, you know, that's part of that mental illness. Like that's a, you know, some people that had families that, you know, got into, you know, domestic violence disputes over money. You know, money, bills, things like that can trigger PTSD like symptoms in them. And, you know, and if we would look at it more or less as, like I keep saying, as a reflection of how we spend our time and our energy versus a vehicle or a mode to be able to go get looking fresh, or to like, instead of looking at it as to like, how can I give it away? What can I go do with this? What can this like put in my hands right now? Instead of having that, It's nice to have that piece, but you need to like push it back a little bit and put this other piece in place first, where you respect the money, you you look at it as a way that you're spending and using your time, and you're being accountable for everything that comes through your hands, right? I think that's a really good, you know, thing to meditate on. What do you think? Y'all are so quiet. A lot of this talk was kind of inspired by one of my friends. I invited her over, and she was like, "Well, I have to do some things, and I have to work on my budget this week and everything." So that's what has me thinking about so many people make budgets. So many people have, um, they have financial goals. They know what their financial situation's like, but they don't ever commit to it and stick with it. So, just makes you wonder, like, where are those money blockages? And I think the first main money blockage is not respecting the money and not understanding what it's a reflection of, and not being accountable. Right? If you're just getting here, we're talking about mindful money, the mindful money mindset. Because that's really like what a lot of meditation is really for. I mean, it's, so many people, like, I mean, and even me, I'm never so high and mighty. I include myself in a lot of things I talk about. But, like people are like into like the chakra meditations, or they want to astral travel, or they want to, do past lives, or they want to connect with the dead relative, or, they want to see crazy things. And, that stuff's all fun and fine and dandy, and I've participated in it as well. But then the people won't want to use the meditation to get their mind right for their money. They won't use the meditation to get through that anger issue. They won't use that meditation to work through the issues that they're having with their significant other. Um, you know? Oh, peace to me. Thank you. How long have I been on here? Okay, I was on here, what was it, 7:25, and it's almost 8. So that's about my 30 minutes. I don't think this video is going to fit on my phone, so it's probably not going to be able to be uploaded, but I will leave the replay up. And if you have any questions, oh wait, is there anything I have to tell y'all? Oh, if you click the link in my bio, go ahead and check out my shop. If you want, you can drop your email address and I can send you just updates and things that go on with me. I am going to be, oh, that's a whole nother subject. Maybe I should say that for another video. But we're going to get into like the energy clearing sticks, just because like I have this whole beef with like white sage and smudging right now. That's a whole nother thing that came to my mind today, about how there's a whole lot of other herbs to energy cleanse with, but white sage and smudge is for like a certain community, and it's being appropriated and just really disrespectful, and but that's a different subject. You see why I keep notes, so that I don't just ramble. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get off of here. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Thanks for stopping by.